How can you tell the difference between a Scouse dog, for example, and a Scottish dog? How could you tell a Scot from a Liverpudlian when you met them?
Accent.
Accent is the right answer.
Oh, you don't.
Oh, no.
Apparently, there's been a lot of research by the Canine Behaviour Centre in Cumbria, and you're going to possibly snort with derision when I tell you this, but owners and dogs left messages on the centre's answering machine. Experts then compared the pitch, tone, volume and length of the sounds made by human and dog. And they found that the Scouse and Scots dogs have the most distinctive accents. The Scouse dogs have higher-pitched voices than their equivalents.
I saw the other day that somebody's worked out that dolphins give one another names. You just don't. I mean, she's calling him Peter. He isn't.
So you really don't believe it?
No.
I believe it, yeah.
Thank you.
You go, woof, woof, all right, or woof, woof, okay, the new.
So they're pretty stereotyped accents, aren't they? Well, of course, it makes sense. I mean, a dog does imitate the behaviour of the pack it's in other words, the family or the owner. So, for example, terriers that live with families with children become very manic, and the same breed of terrier, indeed from the same family, if it's with an old lady, will start shuffling along looking forlorn way before it's time.
Do they smell of wee?
Did they say how old they are? I'm 7, you know. Possibly they do.
I'm 8 next year.
When I was a kid, I had a dog called Ronnie Barker.
You could leave that there if you want.
Yeah. My dad named him, and I'm like, oh, it's funny, Barker. It's a pun, but I didn't know...
It was named after Ronnie?
No, I didn't know Ronnie Barker was a famous situation, and... So I thought, oh, I think we just named our dog after Ricky Barker's dad, and Ricky's just a guy I went to school with. And I even told Ricky, and he's like, oh, did you?
Did Ricky not know his dad wasn't called Ronnie?
Yes, I did. His name was Michael, and I kind of... And it wasn't until I was... Years later, I was watching Open All Hours. It's like, why don't you just jiggle it? And I remember, I'm like, oh, my God.
Poor dog.
It's not Ricky Barker's dad.
Oh, I just got that because of the bark.
It's like having a troubled child. No!
Which international institution had one man and his dog as members?
That was it?
No, they had lots and lots of other members.
But they weren't men, presumably.
All the others were women and human.
The WI?
Yes, the WI.
Really?
And Lassie.
The WI wasn't that particular man, by the way. This is an example, in case you're incredibly
No, 'cause
stupid,
if you're
of what
only
a man and a
allowed
dog
one
look like. Because you might not know.
He's
Very
literally
poor
blowing
picture of a
smoke up its arse.
The bloody dog moved. Well, we'll have to use it. We're out of film.
When the WI was formed, the nascent WI, this particular man, Colonel Richard Stapleton Cotton, was an enormous fan, a great admirer, and so
Popped a frock on.
he and his dog Tinker were both members and paid their annual fees.
Fingers on buzzers, name the part of Canada that Britain and America's most popular dog comes from.
Labrador.
Are you saying it's pronounced in a different way, or there's
No,
a
they
different
don't
dog?
come from Labrador, is the thing of it. So it is the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. They are the most popular dogs in the UK and the US, the Labrador Retrievers. They have held the top spot for 25 years running and are exhausted. But they come from Newfoundland and not from Labrador. But what happened was, when they arrived in the UK, there was already a dog called a Newfoundland, also known as a St John's water dog, and so they needed to find another name. So they are so gorgeous.
And they've got a thing they don't stop eating. They've got a genetic mutation. And
I had a Labrador, and it was a nightmare,
And
an
it was-
absolute
Yeah,
nightmare.
it's
Good
not
for
their
training them.
fault, turns out. They
Yeah.
can't help it.
Yeah.
I hope they find that in humans soon.
Maybe you're part Labrador.
Maybe I'm all Labrador.
More Labrador, baby.
Apart from the obvious, what's unusual about the New Guinea singing dog?
Did you say apart from the obvious?
Well, the obvious being that it's a singing dog, yes.
It's the only singing dog never to have been on Esther Rantzen.
It's a tiny little dog in a huge bath of potpourri. He sings so high that no one can hear.
Well, we do. You can actually hear him sing if you want to. I think we've got him singing.
All right.
Go on, then. That's like Gracie Fields falling off a cliff, isn't it?
Well, a pretty little dog. It's a mixture, supposedly, between a fox and a dingo.
But it has no feet.
It actually never moves. It's stuck in the ground.
Now that's where you're wrong, young Davis.
It's the only dog that climbs trees.
Yes, is the right answer. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
Here's a pet hate of mine. Why did the ancient Chinese give wine to their dogs? What do you reckon?
Oh, because they were legends.
Was it to see if it was okay? You know, like in a restaurant, they bring you a little bit and they go on then, and you have to go like this. So they put a glass of wine in front of the dog and the dog would pick it up and spin it around.
Yeah.
Is that a Chateau Neuf de...
So it's miniature Pekingese that we are talking about. They were also known as sleeve Pekingese. They used to keep the dogs up the sleeves. It's partly to keep their hands warm, but it's also a hilarious form of self-protection. Because if anybody comes near you, just go, like that. Dogs up your sleeves. So obviously, if you've got a sleeve Pekingese, you want them to be as small as possible. And one of the things they thought was if you gave rice wine to puppies, it would stunt their growth. I tried this with my children, and honestly, they're enormous. I have no idea what's happened there. And they used to squeeze them as newborns to try and keep them small, and they used to fit them with a wire mesh waistcoat to try and... I know, it's awful. I have no idea why they thought giving wine to a dog would keep it small. I have to say, do not give alcohol to dogs. Their kidneys are not adapted to process it. And in fact, the practice was banned eventually by an Empress Dowager Ju Shi, she died in 1908. She stopped it.
Oh, look at the Ferrero Rocher that she...
Yes, keeping dogs in sleeves, no stranger than putting them in a handbag. So in New York City, the subway prohibits dogs unless they're carried.
You sure that's a dog?
If not, it wants shaving.
He's just texting his doctor.
Yeah.
I can't even get it in my trousers now.
What kind of pet did Charles Cruft have? Oh, come on, I mean...
A cat.
Yes! You see? Very good. He did indeed. He was the scion of a thriving jewellery business in the 19th century, and he was a fine salesman, and he went into business with a man called Spratt, who made dog cakes in London.
Right.
Yeah, well, I can't biscuit, really.
Oh,
well,
not
dog biscuit is fine, but a dog cake is
No,
bad.
I thought you meant a cake made out of dog.
Oh, sorry. That would be
Definitely, dog biscuit sounds like it's for dogs, and dog cake sounds like it's got a lovely layer of dog.
Oh, OK.
I went fish cake, dog cake. You know,
I see. No, that does make sense now. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But he sort of founded the business of the large dog show, Charles Cruft. And then it got bigger, and they were hugely successful until he died in 1938, and sort of the Kennel Club took over. But all kinds of problems that seemed to come from inbreeding, and the sponsors withdrew. The dog food sponsor Pedigree withdrew, the BBC withdrew, RSPCA and a dog charity all withdrew. So this year, Crufts was broadcast live on the internet for the first time.
Cat shows are much more interesting, though, because cats are shown, obviously, in a similar kind of way, but in that kind of cat-independent way, where they don't seem to be really aware of it or care very much. But what they do is you lift up the cat, and then you essentially...
Fluff it.
You make it do Superman. And so all cats in the shows, just how that cat look of...
No.
Yeah, 2 legs straight out, 2 legs full at the back, like whatever. You do it to your own cat at home, it's very good, because they just look... It's interesting.
The other side of the Crufts not being on the television is that It's a real relief that Crufts isn't on the television, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, I think if I was to define a terrible idea for a programme, it would be pretty much Crufts.
Thank you for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the QI channel and click here to watch more videos. Well, please, come on, pick something.